In looking at what are the issues facing us, the first thing really is what triggered it all, but most importantly, what effect that had on you.
Yeah, I guess obviously the obvious trigger was the point in which I realised that the job I've been doing for 20 odd years, which was working with older adults and having a very small team of staff, was coming to an end. It wasn't an immediate thing in that things wind down, but the realisation that that was going to be no more was a difficult thing to deal with. And what I found particularly difficult was I had got to know a team of staff who were something like 20 strong, and because it was a very small team, I knew the effect that it would be having on them as well. So it was like the feeling of some sort of guilt and blame. Felt really, really poor about that, poor about myself. This team was at the bottom, at the rock bottom. But then I thought, well, hang on, it's not the end of the world. There's something I can do about this. And but the first stage, I have to say, to be honest, Dave, was feeling really negative about the whole process. Why us? Why not that place? What have we done? Actually, there are a lot of reasons, economic reasons and political reasons why that was curtailed. But having said that, so I think for me, it's feeling a little bit guilty, a little bit to blame, and then having to overcome that feeling. That was important for me, I think.
Yeah. And feeling guilty, you feel sometimes it's your fault.
Yeah.
And you blame yourself.
Absolutely, yeah.
And again, if you've got a set of expectations, a set of skills that link that particular environment, you really find it very hard to find another job to replace it.
Yeah, and I think I would like to add that what I then did was I found there was a new world out there which I didn't know existed called recruitment consultants who wanted me to pay a large sum of money to write a CV, and basically the first thing that somebody told me when they said, "Well, for a fact, you've been in the same job far too long, so you'll get nowhere anyway." That was a real realisation. I've since spoken to people. They said, "Well, there's two ways of looking at that." I'd been virtually at the same place for 20 years in two different roles, and I was told that was really negative. So that was a really, where do I go from here? I felt so I had to sort of self-invent a job for myself, really.
And some of the skills you gained, a bit like myself, were things that you were thrown in the deep end.
Sure.
And you survived, and you gained skills for that.
Absolutely.
And when they say, "Have you got a qualification in management?"
Yeah.
It gets a bit sort of harder.
Yeah.
So the bit of baggage you can take to the next job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't as clearly labelled.
Sometimes it is about finding what you can use the experience for, but there is this stage of feeling, well, I've got nothing to offer. I mean, and I was 55 at the time, 50, yeah, going on 58 now. So it's working in this profession, 60 was always a bit of a benchmark. Let's get to 60, then I can make the decision. But I hadn't quite got there, So people say, "Oh, you've retired." I said, "No, I'm not retired. I've lost my job. I'm redundant." And it's this label: retired, resigned, redundant, and I think that's quite important.
You use the word loss. I think that's important.
Yeah.
And
It's interesting because, in a sense, you draw on what's around you. And I had spent, well, all my life, but the most recent part of my life, building. I'm very proud to have built a sort of learning community where people come together, and older people as well, often 60 plus, often 80 and 90 plus, coming together and really inspiring you. It was almost like every week people would say, this wonderful place this environment. And that after a while, that can be pretty inspiring. When it's gone and taken away, it's this massive gap. But then I thought, well, hang on, try to revive that. And I'm not going to find a job that's going to do that, so I'll create one or take the risk of it. You write these bids, you hope they'll be successful, and delighted to say this one was. And I think I've gone back to the community. I've built this community, and in a sense, what I would love to, if nothing else happened, is that DLC, Directed Life Change Project, after the end of the project, because that's only defined by somebody funding it, can continue to be some sort of, albeit online community, and can carry on doing that. Inspiring people, as I've been inspired for 30 years by meeting people you just think, how on earth can you create that piece of art, or can you have that aspect of philosophy, or enjoy that aspect of literature, or be it whatever it was. And the other thing, I guess, is the reality is doing all that against financial, political and social constraints. And maybe you can't change the world, but you can work with it.